Hi everyone, I'm Sarah and I'm super excited today because I'm going to teach you how to make some at-home bird feeders. This is a super fun craft, a pretty simple craft, and a great way to connect with nature and get outside and enjoy our summer weather. I want to start off by saying that this is a craft that anyone can do. You can do it by yourself or you can do it with your family. The only thing is that during a part of this, we will be using hot water. So please get your parents' help or supervision while doing that part because we don't want anyone to get hurt. All right, guys, let's get started. We're gonna start with what supplies we need. So the first supply that you're gonna need is some water. Then you're gonna need some bird feed, some gelatin, some fun cookie cutters, a nice big bowl, a cookie sheet or tray, a spoon or a spatula, a pencil, some yarn or string or pipe cleaners, and then some scissors if you need to cut any of those. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first step that you guys are gonna do is you're going to measure out 1/4 cup of water and 3/4 cups of birdseed. Once you have that all measured out, you're gonna go ahead and take the water over to get boiled. So please remember to get your parents' supervision or help with this because we don't want anyone getting hurt. So I'm gonna take my water back there to go ahead and start getting it boiled. So while your water is boiling, what you're gonna go ahead and do is you're gonna grab your bowl and get 1 package of your gelatin, and you're gonna go ahead and open that up and pour it in. If you don't have gelatin, that's perfectly okay. There's a few other ways that you can do this without using gelatin. You can use peanut butter or sun butter. So whenever we're using the gelatin right now, just know that instead of using gelatin, you can supplement that with peanut butter or sun butter. Okay, now that I have some hot boiling water, I have a oven mitt on just in case. I'm gonna go ahead and take that water and pour it into my bowl with the gelatin mixture. Now that all of this is in the bowl, I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up, and you wanna mix it until all of the gelatin powdery stuff is dissolved. It may take a minute to mix and get it all in. If you need to, you can try to break up some of the clumps like by doing this. It does take a minute to get everything dissolved. If there are still a few clumps left, that's okay. We're not trying to make it perfect. It still works if there's clumps. I always try to scrape the sides of the bowls a little bit just to make sure all that gelatin mixture gets in the bowl and not on the side of the bowl. So when most of your gelatin mixture is all liquidy, then what we're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take our birdseed and pour our birdseed into the gelatin mixture. And once again, we are going to go ahead and stir that up and be so super careful because the gelatin mixture is still pretty warm. We're gonna mix the birdseed in until it all looks like it has water all over it. So you're gonna mix it up. It doesn't take super long to mix. But just make sure you get it nice and mixed up until it looks something like this and it's kind of sticky and sticking to your spatula and stuff. And then you are good to go. So the next part is the super fun part. We're gonna pick out our fun cookie cutters. So this makes about anywhere from 3 to 5 cookie cutters. It depends how big your cookie cutters are and how thick they are. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the cookie cutters that I chose. I have a birthday cake, a pumpkin, a heart, and then a 4-leaf clover if I have enough. So this next step is pretty easy. We're gonna take our wonderful mixture and we're gonna put it into our cookie cutters. So just be careful. Usually the birdseed does cool down the mixture a lot, so it's not as warm and you can touch it. I am going to use a spoon to put it all in because it can be a little bit tricky, but it's super easy. So I'm just gonna give this one more good mix. And then this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna take a spoonful of the birdseed and go ahead and plop it into one of the cookie cutters. And then you're gonna use the back of the spoon to go ahead and push everything down so it's nice and even. You wanna make a nice even layer with it. And you wanna do 2 or 3 of these layers, however much it takes to fill up your cookie cutter. And just make sure that you're getting all parts of the cookie cutters full and it's nice and patted down so it's nice and strong at the end when we wanna go and hang them up. And don't be afraid to use your fingers. It's okay to get a little bit messy. So now that this one's pretty much full, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to another one. My cookie cutters are pretty big, so I might not be able to do all of these. And if you have any cookie cutters that have little areas that need to be filled, try to make sure that you get them filled. I know it can be helpful if you use the back of the spoon to squish them down to make sure every area is filled. These don't have to be perfect. The birdseed will get all over the cookie tray, and that's okay. They kind of have a mind of their own sometimes, especially with the gelatin. Try to make it as even as you can. That will just help when it's cooling. All right, so I used up all of my bird feed and it only made about 3 of my cookie cutters, but they're pretty big and pretty deep. So now you have 2 options of how to let them cool. You can either just let them sit out on the counter and cool. It probably will take a little while, or you can pop them in the freezer on the cookie tray and let them cool for about 5 to 10 minutes or until they are hard. Because you want them to be hard so you can pop them out of the cookie cutters and that they're able to be hung up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put mine in the freezer and I'll be right back with you guys. So while you're waiting for your bird feeders to cool, whether it's in the freezer or out on the counter, a good way to pass the time is to cut some string or yarn or pipe cleaners so we can hang these up when we're done. So I like to cut my string pretty long. because you never know how long you're gonna need it. So since I made 3 of them, I'm gonna go ahead and cut 3 pieces of string, about a few inches or so. It doesn't really matter how long your string is, just so you are able to hang them up when you're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut 3 of those. If you don't have string, that's fine. Pipe cleaners will work really well too, because you can at least like wrap them around each other so they can go and hang up outside. If you don't have string or yarn or anything, or if you don't have a place that you can hang them up, a really good option too is to be able to just like set them out on a table or in the grass or on a rock outside. They don't have to be hanging up. The birds obviously will eat them anywhere. So now that I have my 3 strings cut out, I'm gonna go ahead and get my bird feeders out of the freezer. It's been about 5-10 minutes. So now I have them out of my freezer, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the last step of this. So the last part of this is to put our string through the bird feeder so we can hang them up. A really easy way to do this is to have a pencil or some type of stick or rod that you can poke through them. So when you poke through a hole through them, you want to make sure that you're not too close to the edge, because while they are strong, they're not strong enough for a little piece to hold them up. So for this heart, I'm going to go for about the middle here, and you're going to try to push your pencil through. It's easier to do if you keep it in the cookie cutter, and you just got to press really hard. And sometimes it helps if you pick them up and then you can just poke them through and just kind of twist it so you know that that hole will stay open for you to put string through. So now that you have a hole in the middle of it, I don't know if you can see it, but you have a hole in it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to clean it up a little bit so we can make sure we can get the string through. So this part will make a little bit of a mess. So then I'm gonna go ahead and take my string, and I'm going to put it through the hole. This part takes a little bit of patience. If it's not coming through right away, an easy, helpful thing to do is with the string in it, take your pencil and just kind of push it through that way until it comes out the other side. So now that I have the string all the way through my cookie cutter, I'm gonna go ahead and pop my bird feeder out of the cookie cutter and pull the string out of it. And then I'm going to take my string and go ahead and tie it up. This one's a little bit long, but I'll just go ahead and cut it when I'm done. So put a nice knot in it, and since it's a little bit longer, I'm gonna cut the extra pieces off, just so they don't get in the bird's way. So the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna do the same thing for all of your other cookie cutters. You're gonna make sure that you put a hole in about the middle, and then go ahead and get the string through all of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the last few here. If you're having a hard time getting them off a cookie tray, if they're a little bit stuck, you can use a spatula to try to get them through. This part is a little messy, your hands get a little bit sticky, but that's okay. Once again, I'm just gonna use my pencil to help get the string through because it's easier that way. So now that my string's all the way through again, I'm gonna go ahead and pop the pumpkin out of its cookie cutter. it lost its stem, which is okay. It happens. So they're not gonna always turn out perfect or just the way you want them, but it's all about the experience and trying new things. So I'm gonna go ahead and tie this again. And then once again, I'm gonna cut off the extra string just so it's out of the bird's way. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do the last one that I made. Sometimes it helps if you go onto the back and just scrape off where you're going a little bit too. So now that it's through again, through the hole again, I'm gonna go ahead and pop it out. And it's a little birthday cake. And I'm gonna tie it off again. And just so you guys know, I did make these the other day and not all of them turned out perfect. One of them turned out like this clump and I couldn't get any strings through, which is totally okay. All you have to do is go and set this outside in the grass and the birds will eat it no matter what. So don't be discouraged if they don't turn out perfect. It's all about trying new things and having fun while we're doing it. So now that you have your strings and everything through your bird feeders, you can take them outside and go and hang them up on a tree or on a bush or anywhere outside that you think your birds will come and see and eat them. They're so much fun to make and I hope you guys had so much fun making these. I can't wait to see what you guys have created and what cool, awesome shapes you guys did. So please leave a comment with a picture of some of the bird feeders you made and maybe even try to see if you can get a picture of a bird using your bird feeder. I know they can be super sneaky, but it will be super cool to see. So I hope you guys had so much fun and I can't wait to see what you guys made and I hope you have a great day. Bye guys.